Welcome back to BeBelle podcast and welcome to minisodes. This is where we spend a little bit of time and a very short time just reflecting on the episodes from the last series. I want to know what you thought resonated with you, and mostly I'll be talking about what resonated with me. So I hope you enjoy them. Welcome to BeBelle minisodes. So the last episode of this series was with Miriam Hussey. And I mentioned, I've been following Miriam like everybody for a long time. So I couldn't wait to speak to her. She was bringing out a book, which is now out, actually. If you haven't got it, go get it. But I loved our conversation, and I loved it because she really made me reflect on myself. I did go straight out. She told me that her life had changed, I suppose, when her mum gave her a book by, it was Louise Hay's book. I had to write this down because I've got a dreadful memory. Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. That's when things changed for her. I have that book on order because there's actually another book as well, Heal Your Body as well. So I've ordered the two of them. Thank you very much, Miriam. Obviously, along with Miriam's book. But she really got me thinking. And she got me thinking about lots of different things, because I have to say, when I first got on to the pod, I was thinking, I want to ask her about GLP-1. I want to ask her about this. And I did ask her the questions, but she answered differently to what I would think. Now, I love her idea of mind, body, and soul. Super important. If you're not doing things for the soul, that circle can't feed the other circles. Completely get it. I love the idea of in the morning thinking, writing down, if today all I do is one thing for my mind, one thing for my body, and one thing for my soul, it really simplifies it for people. And I can even do that. We all say, I haven't got the time and I'm so busy. But actually just writing down 3 things and not beating yourself up if you only get 1 done or 2 done that day. But doesn't it make sense to feed those 3 areas? Once she says it, you're just like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? I've always thought about the mind-body piece. And I suppose I used to think of the heart or happiness, but actually the soul is a better way to think about it for me. We did touch on sort of my problems. And one thing, she said 2 things that really resonated with me. So the first thing I spoke to her about was, does she not think some of our makeup is sort of from our genetics? Because I had gone on a GLP-1 process, hadn't lost any weight, as I informed her, but I did like what it did to my brain. The difference that it made to my brain and the choices that I was making did make a difference. However, I know that she feels that was kind of just putting a plaster on things. And then she spoke about why you eat and the fear, anger, attention, and shame. My problem is I don't think I eat because I'm sad. I don't think I am an emotional eater. Most of the time I'm just eating for fuel or because my stomach is making such a noise, it's embarrassing. But I don't think of food when I'm out and about and I'm working and I'm enjoying myself. Food doesn't feed my soul, and maybe it needs to feed my soul a little bit more. However, the one thing that she really made me think about was how I verbalize the situation. And I say often, I'm a big girl. I've always been like this. I've always been big. I was big as a child. People who say I was big boned. I've always been active, but I've always been big. And I say it all the time. It comes out of my mouth all the time. So am I verbalizing my situation? I don't know. I really don't know. The only way I can find out is if I can actually stop speaking like that. So I'm really going to try and change that for myself, and not saying things like I've always been like this. That journey will be a difficult one for me because I've been talking like that for 53 years. Well, at least 46, because I've been talking about weight and losing weight for such a long time. It's a massive part of my life. However, I'm going to give it a go. And Miriam, I'm going to let you know how I get on. I'm going to try. Today is the beginning of October, and I've set myself a goal. So by the end of October, I want to actually mark, I suppose. So I'm going to be really conscious, keep myself accountable, And anytime I speak about myself in that way, I'm going to clock it down. I'm going to put a little note in my notes on my phone, and I'm going to try and change that. One thing she did mention, and I do mention this all the time, is, everything that we learn, and our brain is so active and we learn so much before the age of 7. That's when we teach children to learn lots of languages. That's when we're taking in all the information. And so watch, I mentioned on the pod, watch what you say. I'm always saying to my sisters, watch what you say. Don't say, don't do that. That will make you fat. We've all heard it because it sticks with your child. And I have a lot of memories of things that were said to me at a very young age. They don't upset me, by the way, but I do remember them. So I suppose my journey, and she said, what lightens you up? I know what lightens me. I'm always on a mission to find more of it. Whatever brings me joy, I'm taking it. What doesn't bring me joy, I'm saying no to it. And I really feel like I'm on that journey now to what's lightening me up. And Miriam, you've really helped with that podcast. And I can see myself listening to that podcast and that episode quite a lot when I feel that I need it. Hi, and thank you for joining me for this week's episode of BeBelle Podcast. If you have any thoughts, questions, or feedback for us, we always love for you to get involved. And you can find us on Instagram at BeBelle_podcast. Don't forget, though, that if you want to watch these episodes, you can see them all on my YouTube channel, Sian Horn. And don't forget to follow and subscribe. The more people that follow and subscribe, the better it is for the podcast, the more that we can improve future and going forward. So, with that being said, thank you so much for following BeBelle, and I hope you enjoy these next episodes.